Hi friends, welcome to my Bamus Biogenius channel. Today we will discuss about morphological species concept. This concept is very useful for UG and PG students. So stay with me for morphological species concept. Now we will discuss about morphological species concept. It is also called as a essentialist species concept. The proponents of this morphological species concept were of the opinion that the particular animal or a species or organism has a particular kind of a structures, essential structures by which we can identify that particular organism, and we can separate that organism from other kind of organism. So for example, here you can see here this is a moth, and you can see these are the certain morphological features, essential characters that can define or that can identify that particular kind of a organism. So all these are nothing but the morphological characters: claviform spot or orbicular spot or reniform spot. All these are the morphological features of that particular organism, and on that basis we can identify that this particular organism is of this particular species. Now, uh, this particular kind of practice of identifying the particular kind or a form of a species with the help of morphological features that is done first by the philosophers, Greek philosophers like Plato, then Aristotle. They used the term that is known as eidos. They are of the opinion that each and every organism is having a particular kind of essential features, essential characters, with the help of which we can identify that particular organism, and that essential characters are called as eidos. And these eidos can be used to identify the species, as well as these characters can also demarcate in between the species, or they can be used to demarcate two different species. So this is how that particular morphological characters are used. And nowadays also you will find that whenever we use or we go for a museum study, type specimens are placed there. Now these type specimens are what? These type specimens are nothing but the representative of that particular species, and by looking at the characters of that species and by comparing with the this particular type specimen, we can identify the different species. So for example, if we take a particular kind of organism with us to the museum curator, and you will ask them to identify this particular creature or organism, he will use that particular type specimen which is deposited in his museum. He will compare that type specimen with yours, and then he will identify that particular species on the basis of morphological characters. So this is the practice that is still we do in our museum. So this is what the morphological species concept is all about. Then in this morphological species concept, the this morphological species concept is also used by Carl Linnaeus for his classification studies. He used the eyeball method to identify. What do you mean by eyeball method? Eyeball method means describe what you see. That is the eyeball method. So he used that, and with the help of this, and he just noted down the morphological characters for his classification study. And he was of the opinion that the the diversity is due to fixed number of types. So he was of the opinion that whatever the types are there, these are fixed, they will not change. According to this morphological species concept, the species remains, the number of species remains constant throughout the time, they will not change. And another we can say the um, postulate of this is that the morphological differences, or if a type specimen differs from the other type specimen, that means these are the two species there. So morphological differences in the organism are a basis for defining a species. So these are the, we can say, the postulates of this morphological species concept. So now we will discuss about the merits of morphological species concept. First is it is a very traditional, because it has been used from long time, and very simple. Just we have to look at the organism and define its character, describe its character, and thereby we can identify that particular species. And again, the next is applicable for living and extinct group as well. So we know that other concepts are very difficult to apply for fossils, and this concept is by looking at morphological aspect of that particular specimen, we can describe that specimen, and we can identify that particular species. So this is very handy for even fossils also. Then another application is it is applicable for sexual and asexual groups also. When we compare with the other type of a species concept, this can be applicable to sexual as well as asexual groups of individuals, where the sex of the individual is not important, or the compatibility, sexual compatibility of the individuals is not required. So in such groups also, this morphological species concept can be applied. So all these are the merits of a morphological species concept. Now we will discuss about the criticism or demerits of the morphological species concept. The demerits are like the first one is the age difference. When there is a age difference, there is a tremendous difference is there in the morphology of the animal. Then even in certain cases, animal also differs during the season. Then we all know that a sexual dimorphism is also a kind of a morphological feature that differentiate between male and female. So where this morphological species concept is not applied. Then polymorphism, some organisms have polymorphic individuals. So although they are of same species, but still they show the polymorphism. Then sibling species, although they look like a same, but they are different species. Then the this concept says about the idea of fixity of species, that is also wrong. So this is also a kind of a demerit, or um, we can say that. Then a drawback of this morphological species concept. Then the last one is inflation of number of species. So when we apply a morphological species concept, the number of species increases in that particular group. So these are all the criticisms or demerits of morphological species concept that we will discuss now. See, some organisms, they show different morphology according to their different age. For example, if we see a butterfly, this one is a caterpillar and this one is an adult butterfly. Both are of the same species, but they differ morphologically. Now, if we apply morphological species concept to this, we will put these two organisms into two different species. But in reality, this is not so. All these are, both these forms are of the same species, and this difference is only due to the age. So here the morphological species concept fails. Then another example of age difference is this one, adult male Asian paradise flycatcher. You can see this in India also. This is a male and with this plumage. Now see the juvenile male Asian paradise flycatcher. This juvenile male Asian paradise flycatcher shows a different plumage than the adult one. So, if we apply a morphological species concept, you will put this particular organism into a different species and this one into a different species. But in reality, these two are of the same species. Even here also, in case of a paradise flycatcher, you can see here the sexual dimorphism is also seen. The female is with this color and a short tail, while male is with this color and a long tail. Then seasonal change. Now we have seen that the organisms differ during the season. So in one season they acquire one form and in another season they acquire another form. The famous example is evening brown. If we see evening brown during the dry season, you will find this type of evening brown. And if you will see the evening brown in a wet season, it will acquire this type of morphology. Now, here also, if we apply morphological species concept, you will put these two butterflies into two different species, but in reality, it is not so. These are only the seasonal forms. So here also the morphological species concept fails. Then this is the famous example of sexual dimorphism. Birds show sexual dimorphism. This one is a male mallard duck and this one is a female. Even Carlos Linnaeus is also failed he got confused and he put these two into two different species. So you can see here sexual dimorphic individuals or the organisms which show sexual dimorphism, they differ in the morphological characters and morphological species concept also fails here. Then we know that certain group of animals show polymorphism, for example ants and honeybees. Here the example is of Apis mellifera is a honeybee. You can see here a queen bee is here and worker bee is here. There are morphological differences in these two, but still they belongs to a same species. Now although these are of the same species but they shows a morphological differences. Now if we categorize or if we apply morphological species concept, we will put these two organisms into two different species. So uh, in polymorphic individuals also we cannot apply morphological species concept. So here also morphological species concept fails. Then the sibling species. Now see here, until now we have seen that the two different types of individuals or morphologically different individuals are there of the same species. But here you will find that although these two individuals are of a same morphological features or with the same they are showing same morphological features, but they belongs to two different species. So such a type of species they are called as a sibling species. So they are morphologically similar but they cannot interbreed, so they are of the different kind or different species. So eastern meadowlark and western meadowlark, you can see here by looking at morphological features, we will put them into a single species, but in reality, they belongs to two different species. They cannot interbreed, and that's why morphological species concept fails here also. Then another idea that is given by morphological species concept is that the number of species in the universe or on the planet, they remains fixed, they remain constant. But this is not so. As we study evolution, we see that because of the variations, the species tend to change over the time. But morphological species concept believes that the uh, the species are fixed, the number of species are fixed and they don't change. But this is not true. So this idea of a fixity of a species is also false. That is explained by morphological species concept. So that is why, or because of all these kind of, we can say the demerits, we cannot say that morphological species concept is foolproof for identifying a species. See, the next demerit of the morphological species concept is the inflation of number of species. See, when organisms are identified with the help of this morphological species concept, the there is a inflation of, or the number of species that increases, because see, we are taking into account the morphological differences, and if that morphological differences are more in that particular population, then the result is splitting of that particular taxa into different subspecies. So that's why the number of species increases, the biodiversity increases. The famous example of this is Gotta's pocket gopher. That This is a rat-sized animal, rodent, and lives in a burrows and under the soil. This mammal shows very minor variations among themselves, and because of that, they are divided into 35 species and about 200 subspecies. So you can imagine that that much amount of inflation can be seen in a single group of animals. So this is one of the main drawback of a morphological species concept. Thank you very much for a patient hearing. Please solve this quiz on morphological species concept for a better understanding. So good luck. And thank you for visiting my channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel Bamu's Biogenius for latest uploads, or like my videos and comment. Thank you.